Hey guys, we're here today at the Lone Pronto Studios, our first podcast. We're here with Eric Layne. He's one of the top real estate agents in Charlotte. He's a realtor with Compass Group. So I want to say hi to Eric. Thanks for coming in.
Hey guys, how are you? Roger,
Good.
thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. So straight to the questions here, Eric. I'm a big believer in the statement that you can always connect the dots looking backward, and all of your past jobs and past accomplishments lead you to where you are in the present time. You have a very strong advertising background, marketing, agency, production background. So what role has that played in you being a realtor in today's market?
Yeah, so going back to a graduate of East Carolina University with a concentration in graphic design, and I took that to New York and worked for some of the largest advertising and marketing firms in the world. One of them was TBWA Chiat Day. And I was doing marketing for your biggest brands, Apple, St. Regis Hotel, the Plaza Hotel, Sprint Nextel, on and on and on, A&E Television, doing billboards and all types of print media. But where it took me was to, if I'm going to present, whether it's a newspaper ad, a billboard, to some of the largest clients in the world, I now transition that to a house or condo or townhome or whatever it is. I'm preparing for the big pitch all the time. So marketing is everything, but before marketing, presentation is everything. So not only how you present yourself, but how you present the product you're going to sell, in this case, real estate. So I am super particular about how things look.
I know I get your newsletter every month. I can tell it's meticulously done. Is that a pretty good example of like transitioning from that advertising background into what you're doing today?
Yes, I want to make the cheeseburger look as awesome as possible. You know, everybody gets let down when you walk into a restaurant and you see this big, beautiful thing that you're about to order, and then what actually shows up on your plate is something completely different, right? So it's like, where's the beef, as they used to say, one of those famous ads back in the day. So we don't want that. We want it to look like exactly the best thing possible you can create. So.
And I know you do a lot of social media as well. How does that impact your branding on social media? Is it have a similar concept as well? Like how thoughtful are you with that, with your background and your advertising and all that?
Yeah, it took me a while to get going on social media because if I was going to do video, I felt like Steven Spielberg had to be directing it. I had to have we had to be on location in Malta. The weather had to be perfect. I had to have a haircut that morning. Just all these things kind of got in my way from actually creating the content, and we didn't need to do that. But it also just made me a stickler for how things look and refining things over time and really taking my time with it to make sure it looks great, because how I present my houses in real estate is how I want to present myself online as well. So again, presentation is everything.
So I'm kind of going out of order here, but in terms of social media, I've really had to push my employees here a lot over the years to do stuff on social media. Some people embrace it and other people are afraid of it. They're timid. They don't think they look good on video. You're obviously at the point now in your social media branding that you're at that next level where production's important. Everything looks good, but you got to start somewhere, right? I think the biggest mistake you got to make is they're just afraid to start, right? Sometimes getting started is better than perfect. Like what would you tell somebody who was an LO or a loan officer, really anything for that fact, where to get started? Hey, I don't look good. I don't like the sound of my voice. Like I don't know how to produce this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I just say, just get started, just get the plane off the ground and see where you go from there. What advice do you give to maybe your younger agents, or if you're talking about a loan officer, like what kinds of things you would say about just getting started?
Yeah. There's a great Tom Ferry quote, and he says, done is better than perfect. Just get it done, get it out there. And if you're afraid of how it's going to look long-term, start with stories. Start with something that's going to disappear really quickly, and that just kind of oils the wheels a bit, right? And then move on to reels and other things that are going to last long. But the more you do it, the better you get with it. So it's all about reps, right? It's no different from going to the gym or doing anything else. The more you do it, the stronger you're going to get, the more comfortable you're going to get in front of camera. So like anything else, reps are important. So, and don't be afraid of the way you look or the way you talk. It's how you show up to work. It's how you show up, if you're disappointed, blame your parents, don't blame yourself, right? So, but it's the way you look, and there's nothing wrong. Everybody's beautiful in their own way. So what's most important is get yourself out there, get your content out there, because the public is starving for content, and it's on us to create it for them.
It is, and if you're not putting out there, somebody else will, and your clients are going to find the content they want, and hopefully it's from you. What role, if you look at, I think really the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen a really explosion in social media as professionals like us. Like, what role does it play in what you do and how much business you do? And like, I guess the bigger question is like, what percentage of business do you think ultimately likely comes from just your social media branding?
Yeah, at least a third of my business comes from social media branding. I've closed a couple deals this past month already where people found me on Instagram, and then, what's the first thing we all do when we're researching a business or a brand? You Google it, right? You do your research online. So when I tell others getting started, especially real estate agents, I tell them, I want to see you everywhere. Whether it's on video or static posts or brand, whatever it is, I want to see you everywhere. So it's so important to have a social media presence and a presence online more so than ever, because the average person knows over 9 real estate agents. 9.2, I think, is the exact number. So how do you separate yourself from that pack? And I want to say that probably the odds are about the same for LOs and mortgage brokers. Every other person is someone that can do a loan or sell you a house. So how do you stand out? And you stand out with reps and being seen everywhere, and not just being a secret agent and staying at home and waiting for the business to come, but doing events. Being active in your community, being charitable. So the more I can see you everywhere, the more more business you're going to get.
I think that one of the biggest common misconceptions is that social media primary goal is to bring in people that have never heard from you before. But my experience has been that it's the people that are like your first, second, and third degrees of separation, the ones that really you obtain that business first, because like your cousin's friend, right? Or your second cousin, or somebody who thinks you're in the business, or maybe even a friend from college or high school that kind of knows what you do, but they don't know that you love doing business. Those are the lowest hanging fruit that you can generally get from social media. So I love what you had to say there. So you made a big transition. You were at an awesome local boutique firm here in Charlotte. I think you did. I know you did really well there. You were probably one of the top agents. And then you moved to a large firm, Compass, one of the largest in the United States. And I've also, I'm in the industry. I've seen a lot of agents that I know take this path. And I'm wondering, why you did it. What were the reasons, and has it worked out for you?
It's been a tremendous jump for me, a tremendous advantage in this field, because Charlotte is not that sleepy little town in the South anymore, and you can't do a localized approach with any of your marketing. People are coming here from the West Coast more than ever. I see more California people. Northeast has always come here, but you can't have a boutique approach to any brand or any business you're trying to do, especially in this space. So as Charlotte grows, you have to grow with it, and your reach has to grow with it. So not only nationally, but internationally. And Compass is one of the few that have that reach. So I didn't want to be left behind without that reach, and create it not only just for myself, but for my clients. I want to have them have the ability to reach nationwide, 38,000 agents across almost 360 offices and almost 45% of the country covered. So the boutique approach is not going to do that. And if the market were to ever turn, and now we have a ton of listings versus a ton of buyers and no inventory, you have to be able to separate yourself from everybody else. And you do that with a larger approach, casting a wider net.
Gotcha. What are the differences between EXP and Compass? I know that you guys seem to be kind of battling getting the big agents, getting the big teams. I work with agents from both companies. What are the bigger differences you're seeing? Because I'm sure they recruited you as well. What are you seeing as the primary differences there?
Yeah, I mean, EXP is not a brick and mortar company. It's they rely on purely being online, and it's the success of an EXP agent, is relies on the success of their downline. So you have one big fish, and then you have 20 small fish. So, and that's their team. So, and then everybody benefits, or the top agent benefits on down. So now it just wasn't a business model. It's very similar to Keller Williams. That's why a lot of Keller Williams agents have made the jump to EXP. It's kind of, EXP is pretty much, I've heard called, Keller Williams 2.0, a more refined business model, but essentially the same. Others have tagged it as an MLM, but Compass is different. It's still a traditional brokerage, but powered by the best technology that's out there. I mean, we have over $1 billion in investment in our AI, in our software platforms, to take what most agents use 12 different software platforms to do their business. We have it all in one. So we're investing a ton in technology, but investing a ton in the agent themselves so they can create a better experience for their client.
Gotcha. You have a wife?
You?
4 kids?
Yep.
2 dogs?
Last I counted.
Yep. I know you personally as well, so let's get that out there. How do you do it?
I'm good, man. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, business is good, and just showed a couple houses before I came here, and the market's great, and people are going to try to sell headlines and say, that something bad is coming or this and that, but what a better place to be than Charlotte, North Carolina, and then the Southeast for growth. And I moved here from New York. I got March of '08. So 14 years ago. So. You'd have to pay me a lot of money to go back, but I love New York. I'm still a New Yorker at heart. That helps me with business. I'm very direct, while people are concentrating on curtains and countertops, and I'm saying like, this is terrible. That's terrible. This neighbor, so people like that approach. So, but no, I'm doing good. I mean, the house is crazy. Like your house is crazy, but we're getting away for a quick beach weekend and, but no complaints.
You mentioned something seconds ago about Charlotte, what a place to be. I moved to Charlotte in 2003. I'm almost 20 years here right now. It's changed substantially. What does it look like in 10 years? That's what I'm curious about. Some people say like we're the next Atlanta. I don't really think that's the case.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
But I'm just curious. It's obviously, I'm from Ohio, and so many Ohio people move down here. It's a destination for people all over the place. I've actually even seen bachelorette parties in South End a lot recently, which means that like now we're a destination spot. What do we look like in 10 years?
I think continued exponential growth. Look at two constant factors that are continuing. Businesses continue to relocate here, especially from Ohio. Like Ohio and a couple of states in the Midwest have been crushed by corporate relocation. Fifth Third Bank. A lot of the banks are here. Majority of the banks are here. We're the second largest financial district, and next to New York. I mean, we took it away from San Francisco, if I'm correct. And a lot of business were coming here, even just over the border in South Carolina, which is not far, only 20 minutes south of here. So a ton of business relocation continues to happen. And then the largest part of our population market wants to be here, the millennial market. So. And then companies go where the millennials are and where where the workforce they want is. So Charlotte, I think, is going to be unrecognizable in 5 years, and Atlanta around 10 years. So look at the light rail. Follow the growth of the light rail. When that popped and started going, you could just count apartment building after apartment building and development after development. Now you're seeing it on the north side. So I was driving down here from the north side. The north side light rail is exploding as well. I'm just looking at all these warehouses. I'm like, as soon as I see Roger, I'm like, what can we buy? I need to buy more stuff because, we're going to drive less and less. It's the proximity to uptown is key. So the growth is going to be exponential. Whereas the last growth phase, before the Great Recession, concentrated on expanding outwards, past 485 and suburban growth. Now it's different. Now it's all about density growth. So it's let's continue to build in and around uptown and go vertical. We need schools really bad. We need 6 high schools yesterday, but we don't have the dirt, to do so. So we've got to go vertical there. We've got to think like other big cities. So I think, our growth, there's going to be no cap on our growth. As long as businesses keep moving here, we're a business-friendly state too. That needs to continue to happen politically. And then a large portions of the populations want to be here, whether it's the baby boomers or the millennials. Everybody, it's a great place. I mean, you're 3 hours from the ocean, you're 2 hours from the mountains. We both enjoy mountain places, and it's logistically, geographically, you couldn't pick a better place in the Southeast.
Absolutely. The funny thing is, like, transitional neighborhoods in Charlotte used to be something I would think over like a 5 to 10 year period of time, and now you're seeing things happen in 1 to 3 years. What if you had to say the next 1 to 3 upcoming neighborhoods in the Charlotte area, what would they be?
I'll continue to say what I've said over the years. I don't care what your budget is. Buy as much house, condo, townhome as close to uptown as possible. If your budget is, $400,000 or $4 million, just try to pack as much into that as possible. But if you want to even zero it down even further, the next spot to be in is 28206. All right, the north side of Charlotte, like I talked about. If Norfolk Southern gets rid of those rail lines, if they're able to sell them, and we create that big park space we've been talking about, that Center City Partners have been talking about, and you join 2 neighborhoods together, NODA on the east side of that, and Camp North End on the west side of that, or they're going to be joined by a park like the size of Central Park almost, that is a huge growth potential. So 28206, 28208 west side. I'm still just a fan of it just being all around uptown, north, south, east, and west, as close to uptown as possible. Ballantyne is huge too. I mean, that's a gigantic, a ton of gigantic growth there as well. But I see the most growth in and around uptown.
Gotcha. For years we've been hearing that the role of agents is going to change. That agents make too much percentage of the loan of the purchase price, and that maybe software or websites or anything might take over the role of the agent, or that maybe low-cost brokerages are going to eliminate agents. And the irony of it all is it appears, at least from my perspective, that it's actually done the exact opposite, where it seems like the role of the agent in the process is more important than ever. And all these things I think would kill the agent or put in the wayside, maybe actually helping them a little bit, right? Maybe people don't like going to Zillow anymore. They want that in-touch, personalized experience. Why is that? Like, why all these things they think are going to eliminate agents have actually done, from my perspective, maybe the exact opposite?
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think you'll always have whatever business you're in, you're always going to have a disruptor. And whether it was CarMax, for the auto industry, or iBuyers like Opendoor, OfferPad, even when Zillow was buying houses, they did a horrible job at that, and they had to, basically stop and offload everything that they bought that they overpaid for to local real estate firms in the cities they were buying in. So they've, completely stopped that. So the realtor is not going away. At the end of the day, even some people, when they buy a car, they want to kick the tires, so to speak. They want to speak to somebody that has local knowledge, okay? Local knowledge is key. Why is this street different from this street? Why is this neighborhood different from this neighborhood? What's the best value? You're not going to get that out of a chat bot, right? So, however, the agents that have the power of AI behind them and the power of technology behind them, as technology just implodes and growth, it's AI powered. There's a phrase I'm trying to think of it, but it's the tech enabled agent versus the agent who can enable tech, right? So you want to work with a tech enabled agent that has the background behind them of all the weapons they have to get you the best advantage in the market, versus one that doesn't know, that has it but doesn't know how to use it, right? Those agents will be left in the dust. I think I just saw that 60,000 realtors have left the business this year already, nationwide. It doesn't sound like a lot, but in the Charlotte regional area, we have 22,000 agents. Right, and a lot of them, the average, they do about 3-4 transactions a year. If I don't do that in a month, I'm freaking out. So, but it's the tech-enabled agents that are really going to surpass a lot of the agents that have been here for a long time. Yes, relationships always will win, but those that really embrace technology, especially AI, are going to dominate for a long time and do it quicker than agents that have been doing it for 10, 15, 20 years.
The I think is interesting. We use it a lot here. I suspect that we haven't even really scratched the surface of what it can truly do. We use it for emails and blogs and all kinds of things. What are you using it for right now? And that's part of the question. Second part is, if you could envision out into the future, what does it do to enable an agent or a loan officer in 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I mean, we're just scratching the surface. You know, at Compass, we have classes on AI and what it can do for us. We have technology that's AI based, but what I'm using it for right now is even listing descriptions. If you want to write a listing description, you can just kind of put it in. You know, tell me how I can better describe this house, this 4-bedroom townhome in town that has access to a greenway and is brand new construction, and do it in 200 words or less, or 500 characters or less, and then in seconds it'll pop it out. Give me 10 headlines to entice a seller with a low interest rate to sell now versus in 2 years, and it'll give you 10 headlines. You know, so give me any kind of campaign you can think of, any kind of description you can think of. You know, I'm worried for the copywriters out there. You know, I came from that world too. So, and that's why you see these strikes in Hollywood, you know, and so on and so forth. But whatever you can think, you can throw it out there, and it'll generate exponential results so fast, and it's almost creepy crazy. But our AI it generates what we call a likely to sell score. So it'll look at your database and it'll see who's owned properties the longest, who has the oldest mortgage, and it'll generate a score for them to say this person you should reach out to because they have a high probability of selling within the next 3 months, 6 months, a year or so. And here are 5 scripts that you can, you know, already built for you that you can send them to get the conversation going. So it's in everything. It's, you know, we have barely scratched the surface on it, but if you're not in it now, you're going to be left behind really quickly. Just like we talked about video earlier, you know, if you're not doing, you know, you can get started at any time, but if you're not really working with AI and seeing what it can do for your business, you're going to get left behind in the dust really fast.
100% agree to that. So what advice would you give yourself in 2010 when you started real estate? Maybe a couple things you would do differently or tell yourself.
Yeah, I focused too much on Charlotte instead of my neighborhood. You know, when I tell any new agent, I say, be the mayor of your neighborhood. You know, even if you're an LO, know your neighborhood, know your friends, stay in your community. Don't try to sell a house in Huntersville and then a house in Waxhaw and then try to get some business in Concord and send direct mail to neighborhoods you don't even know. Start in your neighborhood, dominate your neighborhood, and do it consistently every month, you know, and then people will start to recognize you as, you know, you may have never sold in your neighborhood, and all of a sudden they just see you enough. They're like, well, damn, I need to call Eric because he's, you know, he's sending out a ton of content. He looks like one of the top agents in this neighborhood. So let me give him a buzz. But, yeah, consistency is key, and staying in one spot is key. And you've got to give it time, just like you got to give video time for the algorithms to push you up. You've got to give direct mail time and stay in one neighborhood, and don't try to do too much. Stay hyper focused and hyper local.
I totally agree. We I have buyers together. I have a bunch of buyers with a bunch of agents in the Charlotte market, and I personally see a lot of mistakes that I think buyers make, and also I see mistakes that agents make as well. But what are the biggest mistakes that you think buyers and maybe even their agents make in a super uber competitive market like we're in right now that are keeping them from getting their offers accepted?
Not being aggressive top to bottom within the offer to purchase. You know, I'll give away some trade secrets only because I love Roger, and this is the first inaugural podcast. But you know, don't do round numbers. I was just talking about that with my team at the office the other day. You know, if something's listed at 525, you know, and there's multiple offer situation, don't do 525. Don't do 535. Don't do 550. Give me a 552. Give me a 557. You know, so many people do round numbers, and you can just easily beat them by $1,000 or two. All right, that's number one. And number two, due diligence money is your new down payment. It's been your down payment since COVID. You know, if the house has recently sold, you can get an inspection report, or it's new construction. If you're not worried about the condition, man, throw the kitchen sink at it. Get aggressive in due diligence money. But you know, at minimum 5% of sales price, as much as 10%. I've done 6-figure due diligence money on $600,000 houses, you know, just to get it. So do short due diligence periods, you know, 10 days or less. Work with a lender like Roger and his team that can get the appraisal done quickly, that can get inspections done quickly. 10 days is all you need. Sometimes you don't even need 10 days. Shortened closing window to 3 weeks instead of 30 days. And before you do all of this, please call the listing agent and ask them what they want.
Yeah.
What does that seller want? Do they need a 30-day close, a 2-week close? Do they have a 45-day close? Do they want a 2-month rent back at $0? You know, ask, build rapport, call them. Don't text them or email. This is where I go old school. Call them and build some rapport. Hey, I know you're going to get bombarded with a ton of offers, but I wanted to reach out and say thank you for all the work you're about to do in advance. I know how hard it is. I've been on your side, but tell me exactly what you're looking for, and I'll do my best to deliver it. So build strength within the offer, build rapport within the other side on the listing agent, and it's tough to lose when you do all those things, especially if you can get your buyer to buy into the strength of your offer.
The crazy thing is about it, that all seems kind of obvious, but most agents don't do it.
They don't do it.
And even if they hear you say this,
Yeah.
they still won't do it.
They
It's
won't
kind
do
of
it.
amazing.
Yeah.
I got one more thing here. Strangest thing you've ever experienced at a listing or showing of a home.
So you know, we all make showing time appointments, and we assume the house is vacant when that happens. But I'll give you two. I'll give you a bonus one. So you know, at the door, front door, 2 clients are behind me. Open up the door, and I walk in, and I start to walk in, and then I hear a voice in the background. Just a minute, and this guy. He peeks out from the side of the wall. He's got a face full of shaving cream on and no clothes. All right, just butt naked, and you can kind of see what's going on. Everybody's just like, I'll be just 1 minute. I'm like, dude, take your time. We can wait outside. I don't know what's going on here, or even if you live here. So that was one. I'll never forget that. That was pretty funny. I don't remember if we bought the house or not because, you know, obviously he shocked us. But there's another house nearby here in Elizabeth that my clients and I are walking, and we're wondering, like, why does this house keep selling every 2-3 years or less? And they were down from New York. This was my former creative director, Julie, if you're listening. This I remember this. We're in this house. I'm at the front of the house. She's at the back of the house, and you can kind of see each other down the hallway. And I'm looking at her. She's looking at me. She's like, "Do you feel that?" It's like, I feel like we're not alone, and the house is vacant. There's no furniture in there. I'm like something feels kind of weird. I'm like, oh, whatever. Let's just keep going. Then we go upstairs, and the feeling gets even weirder. She's just like, Eric, I'm totally freaked out. We need to get the hell out of here. And I was like, I'm totally with you. I think I know why this house keeps selling every 2 years. It's just because no matter who moves in, they're not the only person that lives there. So, yeah.
Haunted. Great. Well, I appreciate your time. If you could give us your Instagram, TikTok, and your handles on here, that would be great. And then your whatever your website is, so our listeners can check you out.
Yeah, please follow me at Real Estate Layne, Layne. That's across TikTok, Instagram. You can find me. YouTube as well. My website is ericlaynerealestate.com. And always putting out new content. Love the feedback. And DM me and hit me up with any questions you have.
I appreciate it, everybody.
Awesome. Thank you.